So it's recording. All right, so we have 4, 5, 6 people who responded. Let me just end the poll to show you what the results look like. And I'm going to share the results so you can see. So a couple of people, they felt really good. A lot of more majority, just okay. One person a little nervous, and one person has never used Zoom before. So, so you can see the wide range of experience using Zoom. Okay, that's good to note. All right, so these are the use cases. Oop. We'll stop sharing, sorry. There we go. Okay, so the first item is making sure you have Zoom downloaded, you have your account activated, and you have it set up properly. So this is the USF Zoom site. It's http://usfca.zoom.us. You can also access this from MyUSF. When you log into MyUSF, there's the dashboard page where there's a link for view all apps, and you'll see Zoom as one of those apps. And you're going to, when you click on it, you'll reach this page, this USFCA Zoom page. When you click sign in, it will activate your account and bring you to your profile page. And this is where you can adjust some of your settings and your profile. So you can upload a photo. If you want to change your display name to something else, like it always defaults to the legal name. So I just change it from Kenneth to Ken because I prefer Ken. There's an edit button to edit all that. Now, another key item is the personal meeting ID. So say if you have common meetings, maybe it's online office hours and you want a single link for all the sessions. Then you can create a personal meeting ID. And what it does is when you edit it, it's going to allow you to enter a 9 or 10-digit number. It can only be numbers. And then you can check a box to use this ID for all instant meetings. Okay. Then there's something called a personal link. Maybe you want one link and you connect with someone all the time and you want them to have a common link that'll get you to your meeting no matter what the meeting ID is. Then you can use something called a personal link, and this could be letters and numbers. And you can change it to be like John here changed it to be his username. I changed it to be my username. You could customize it to whatever you need it to be. So that's where you can create these customized links to meetings. All right. The next, downloading Zoom. So if you're on that main usfca.zoom.us page, there's a link on the upper right for download Zoom. And when you click on that link, it'll take you to the download page where you download Zoom Client for Meetings for Mac or PC. You download it, install it, and then once you're in, it'll launch the software. Now this is after it signs in. And this is what the main interface looks like on the software. Zoom is a software-based web conferencing system. So it's not like a web-based where it's launching from your browser, but it's software-based. Now signing in. So here, when you first launch Zoom, when you first open the software, it'll bring you to a dialog box, join a meeting or sign in. What you do is you click, sorry, I kind of lost my voice, so it's a little rough, but I have my water, I have my cough drops, so I'm good. So when you click sign in, there'll be choices to sign in. What you want to do is you want to click sign in with SSO, and this is true for faculty, staff, and students. Students also get the full pro license, the licensed account with USF. So when you click sign in, it'll take you to a dialog box asking you to enter a domain. and it's just simply USFCA. You click continue, you'll be redirected to the My USF login page to sign in with your username and password to bring you to um, the, uh, the main interface, the one we showed you on the first screen. Then once you're in, you can confirm your personal meeting ID that you set on the website, and it'll show a link that you can copy and paste. This is the personal link. This is the personal meeting ID. You can copy the invitation and paste it into an email so that whoever needs to access your meeting and you want something quick and easy, this is a great way to do it. Okay. Mishara, any questions about signing in or first setup?
Yeah, so this has come up where should we tell our students to register to sign in with the SSO? Do they need to go back once they've joined the classroom? What's that look like?
Well, and this is what we've seen sometimes in some of the class meetings, is that the students will join without signing into the software. And then when there's a field that comes up that says enter your name, and they leave it blank. So the instructor doesn't know who it is that's in the classroom, or they just put their first name, or they put some other acronym or something like that. And so for the classroom, I think it's best that the students sign in also with SSO, just so that when they sign in, it's showing their full name. Either that, or when students join a session, it'll come up with a box saying enter your name. They got to put in their full name, or else the instructor's not going to know who's in there. So yeah, that has come up before. Okay. Other questions that came up during the chat that we should discuss? We're good? Okay. Okay, so and that you can find that personal meeting ID information in the meetings tab of the software. The original interface that we showed, let's see. The original interface that we showed here, this is the home tab, and then the screen here with the personal meeting ID and the list of all your meetings is under the meetings tab, okay? All right, scheduling a meeting. So there are a couple ways to do it. One way is through the Zoom software. What you do is you're on the main interface for Zoom after you signed in, and then you click the button schedule. What it does, it brings up the schedule meeting window. You can put in a title, either it's going to be class meeting week 4 or week 4 class session 5, whatever's going to be appropriate to kind of clue the students in on what this scheduled meeting is. The date, the time. You can use your personal meeting ID for those class meetings or create an automatic one. Say if this is going to be for a personal meeting between you and a student, an individual office hour, then you want to generate it automatically, because then it'll be a unique ID, a unique meeting just between you and that student. No one else can drop in. This one, if it's the personal meeting ID, anybody who has that link can actually enter the meeting. So just one thing to note about that. Some have required a meeting password, to make it more secure. Most people don't, they just leave that unchecked. Video on or off. Now, during a class session, if you're in the classroom, you want to see their faces. So virtually too, you want to see their faces and they want to see you. So I have the video on for the host and for the participants. The audio, you can choose telephone, computer audio, or both. And usually it's best to leave it on both just in case. But if a student tries to dial in, they're not going to see anything. And it's going to be difficult to kind of mute themselves. One note about using a mobile device, and there is a Zoom app for both Android and for iPhone, is we've seen people join a meeting from their phone, either phoning in or from the app while they're driving. So, it's just not safe. And it's really distracting because if they're driving, they're not going to be able to mute themselves really easily. And so you're going to hear all this car noise. So always have people not be driving when they're joining. No multitasking, no zooming while driving. And then finally, you schedule it on your Google Calendar, your USF Google Calendar. Now, one of the, let me see if this screen shows the other options, and it actually it doesn't. There's another set of advanced options where you can mute participants on entry. You can allow the participants to join before the host so they can be in the room. You can actually have a waiting room. So say if you have an online office hour, which is I'm going to be in the meeting for online office hours between 2 and 4 p.m. on Thursday. If you have any questions, drop in, but I'm only going to take one at a time. Then there's another option called enable waiting room. First student drops in, everybody else goes in the waiting room. When they leave, you admit the next person, and then the next, and the next. So you can kind of control who comes in. So for particular situations, you can use the waiting room. So once you click schedule, actually, it doesn't show the Google Calendar, but it'll go onto your Google Calendar and it'll create a calendar event. It'll show the invitation. And if it's for an individual person, you just put in their email address. If it's going to be for a class, just save the event and then copy the invitation or copy the link that's created. And then you could put that into Canvas. There's a second way to do it, and maybe I'll show that a little bit later, scheduling through Zoom in Canvas also. And I think some people have already tried that. All right, any questions about scheduling? Yes.
Oh, I had a question, Ken. Earlier, somebody mentioned that they had a student who doesn't have audio or video on their computer, and this is a way that you can join with your phone. And what does it look like on the other side for the student? So if you enable it fully,
they're going to see the video, the gallery view of the video or speaker view. If someone shares their desktop, they're going to see it on the small screen. So they will see everything, but it's just much smaller. So you can use Android phone, iPhone, iPad. So you can use that to join. We found that if you're hosting, you really want to use a computer, because we did have someone in the session yesterday where they were looking, we made them a host, but they didn't have all the tools that were available on the computer. So if you're hosting, you want to use a computer.
And so why would you want to make somebody, I guess you already mentioned the co-host option.
Oh, actually, yes. Let me talk about that, because, if you have a large class, 30, 40, I've seen some faculty said, I have 50 students in my class. It's very difficult to teach and to kind of manage either the chat, or manage the speaking. So if you have a TA, you can have them in the meeting and make them the co-host. And the managed participants window, if I hover over a person's name, there'll be a more menu. And in that menu is make person a co-host. So that way, a TA could manage the logistical parts of the meeting, handle the chat, look for people who are raising their hands, and they could just notify the instructor, Professor, we have a couple of questions from the chat, or a couple of people raised their hand.
Right, and you want to have one person do this, because like if you have everybody jumping in where we've had bigger webinars and people do that, it gets really chaotic and hard for Ken to kind of stay on track.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, just like that. But you create a sense of decorum, a sense of order, so that everybody has a voice, not just the people who just speak up all the time, but everybody who raises their hand can have a chance to speak. Okay, you're creating some order in the classroom so that everyone has a chance. Okay. All right, good questions. Any other questions about scheduling?
I think something just clicked for me, Ken, personally, as we've done this maybe 16 times. Um, so because I use Google Calendar in my meeting, my staff life, where I just go into Google Calendar and then I turn it into a Zoom meeting, which is another way. There's a few ways to schedule Zoom meetings. This is one of them through the Zoom app. But so you can do it through the Google Calendar, but I realized you can't set all these
That's right.
options,
That's right. You
right?
can't. So it's always best
Got
to
it.
do it either through the website, and maybe during the session I'll show it on the website also, so you can take a look at that just to see some of the options that you can check. Okay, let's move on. So starting a meeting. So you can either go into the meetings tab and then click on start for your scheduled meeting, or you can start an instant meeting. So when you click on, say if you just want to start an instant meeting, you click on new meeting, and what it's going to do, it's going to ask you to choose an audio conference options. Of course, we always recommend computer audio, and then you can test your microphone, speaker and microphone. Always test it because it'll ask you to listen to a tone. If you can hear it, then you click yes. Then it'll ask you speak to a test of your microphone, and then pause, and it'll play it back for you. So if you hear it and it sounds good, then you can click join computer audio. Always do the test. The students should do the same so that they have audio, good audio through this session, either to speak or to hear. All right. And then once you're in the meeting, and this is as a host, what you'll see is a toolbar at the bottom of the Zoom meeting window to mute your microphone. Or if you hadn't joined audio, say if for some reason you join a meeting and it doesn't give you the test audio, it just goes in and you see this icon here with like a set of headphones, and it says, instead of mute, it says join audio. Then you can click on it to join the audio. Here's also, you can start and stop your video. Here's the manage participants. Here's the polling tool that we just used. Now we enabled both polling and breakout rooms, in the account for everybody. Everybody has access to it. So if you do small group work in the live classroom, you can kind of emulate that by using breakout rooms. And you can use polling to do quick little polls. And I'll
Ken, will
quickly
those,
show,
oh,
yes.
excuse me, sorry, jump in. I just wanted to know, are those going to be just on and activated, or do people have to enable those in their settings?
No, we knew that people were looking to use these tools. So it was originally set, so you have to activate it. I activated it for the entire account. So every faculty, staff, and students has access to breakout rooms as a host. Only the host has these tools. Okay. So we wanted to make sure that people didn't have to go back in and look for the setting. We wanted to make it available right away. And then here there's a chat to have the chat window open. And we'll talk about different modalities of communication a little bit later. Managed participants, we'll take a look at that window and some of the tools there too. And here you can record either to your computer or to the cloud. So I'm recording to the cloud right now, and there's some advantages to that, where you don't have to deal with a video file, but you just get a link. You get an email saying your video is ready, and it provides a link for you to share. So those are the main tools. And of course, the share screen tool, where you can share your entire desktop or share a particular application. Okay, any questions about the meeting tools?
So, I mean, I think we're going to show everybody breakout rooms a little bit later and give you guys the opportunity to be in a breakout room and see what the student experience is like.
Yeah,
So hang on for that.
yeah, stay till the end, because it'll be kind of a nice experience to see from a student's perspective what a breakout room looks like. Yeah, it'll be really neat.
And
Uh,
then um, we also had a question about preparing polls ahead of time, and I was just going to look in the Zoom support documentation. I'm going to put that link in the chat because they have a great support site, and you can find answers really quickly and easily,
yeah, let me
I
just
find.
quickly show you, because I have my Zoom, my Zoom page open. And so when you go into a meeting, you have to do this per meeting. Actually, you just do it in one meeting and it's available to all of them. So here I've got a class set up here and I go to edit it. So you have to do it through the usfca.zoom.us site. You have to do it here. And so I'm going to edit the meeting. Actually, I don't even have to do that because it's right below, right here at the bottom. And so I can create a poll. And so it's mainly, multiple choice, single choice or multiple choice. There's not many other types of questions. It's really, really basic. You can keep it totally anonymous if you want, or, you can see the results. On the screen, of course, they just see how many responded. They're not going to see actual names. But you pre-create the polls, and then when you go into the polling option, it will bring up all the polls that you've created. Okay, so let me go back. So that's just a quick look at where you would set up the polls. All right, let me go back to the presentation here. Okay.
And then Ken,
Yes.
what about reporting on those polls? What if instructors want to keep the information and use it as like a, to document who knows what in a certain
I believe
grading
you
situation?
can save the results. You can kind of export them. I haven't, I don't think I have any documentation on that yet. So I'm sure if you can look it up and then put that into the chat for the participants, that'd be great. Okay. So those are the main tools. Once you're in the meeting, you can review your audio and video settings. And so there's right beside the microphone icon and the video icon is a little caret, a little menu. When you click on it, and this is for the audio, you can see which microphone you're choosing, the built-in, or if you have an external microphone, which speaker you're choosing. And so if you're using a headset or your built-in speakers, it'll show which one is selected. And then you can click on audio settings to adjust the gain of the microphone. Say if you're a really soft speaker, then you can increase the gain so that it picks up better, picks up your voice better. Or if you have a really strong voice, you could turn down the microphone so it's not so hot, okay? And the same thing is true with video to check some of the video settings, to check if you have multiple webcams or to check the video quality. All right. And so do sound checks, maybe, like what we did, when people came in, they said hi, and then they muted their microphone. So, and maybe you want to have a student come in early and to do a test with you, do sound checks to see how do I sound as the instructor and how do the students sound as they respond. And you can, and again, have them review the microphone and video options too to make sure they have the right settings and the right choices for microphone, speakers, and video. Okay. So this is, making sure that not only you as the instructor is ready, but the students are ready. So they may want to do a test. They just open up just a new meeting and just do a test looking at the different tools in the toolbar to get themselves familiar with the Zoom application once they're in the meeting. Then if there's any problems, you can use the chat to kind of communicate. Hey, the audio is really low. I can't really hear the instructor that well. Then you can make some adjustments in the audio settings, like raising the gain in your microphone. So using the chat tool can be really helpful, to kind of for nonverbal communication. Now, they could dial in using their phone. We did have someone have that problem. They can dial in, but still see the information. They have their computer and they have their phone. So the phone is for audio, and then the computer's for visuals, for a video. Okay. All right, questions on audio and video. Okay, now this slide, this is when we were open in Gleason. we we had a stock of microphones and webcams, different types. You know, here's the webcam that we usually use. This microphone here, this is the one that I'm using, the Samsung Go mic. It is an incredible microphone. Very simple. It's also about $35, maybe even less. So it's a very, very affordable external microphone if you want to have one of those. And these are more for, these microphones are like boundary microphones for the synchronous classroom. If you have a live classroom and you have some students zooming in, how are they going to be able to hear everything going on in the classroom? This provides a nice array of microphones that you can spread out for optimal pickup. Okay, but this is not for what we're doing right now. You know, external microphones, webcams, you can use the microphone and webcam on your laptop. You just want to have a good quiet environment, a good lighting. So for example, I don't want to be facing the window like this because you can see I'm just totally silhouetted. So you want to have good lighting so people can see you clearly. So, you know, just being prepared, both you and your students. You don't want the students to have like totally be backlit or just really distracting background, to have good video and good audio. Okay. All right. Sharing the screen. So this, if you're going to be sharing a PowerPoint, if you're sharing any kind of content from your computer, then you click on the green share screen. I think right now it's called share screen. And when you click on it, it brings up a dialog box where you can choose like a whiteboard, you can choose your desktop, you can choose a particular application. Here it's like showing the Chrome browser with Google Slides on it. If you're showing more than one item, you're showing a presentation, plus you're showing another website or an application, a document, anything like that, then you want to be sure and choose desktop because then you're showing everything. But conversely, if you're going to do that, then you want to make sure and prep everything. So here on my screen, I use the Jobber phone client. I quit that because it's going to start ringing during my class. If I have a chat client or Twitter, I want to close those so none of those notifications interrupt and show up on my screen. My email client, quit that so I don't see the email notifications. Even my calendar, I don't want those notifications that come up on the screen. Anything that has a notification, quit it, or anything you don't need, quit those programs. And then conversely, bring up the things you are going to show. I'm going to show stuff on the web, including the presentation, but maybe I've also got a PowerPoint, or I want to show some videos or a PDF. You bring all those and have those ready. So there's no waiting to bring those up. Let me go back in here again. And if you have audio in your presentation, are you going to show something from YouTube? Then there's a checkbox in the lower left-hand corner of that share screen window to share computer sound. Be sure and check it, or else the online audience does not hear what's coming out of your computer. And then you click share, and it shares, you know, the screen to whoever is participating in the Zoom session. Okay. Now a question came up, what if I have a DVD player hooked up to my computer and I want to show a DVD to my online students? The answer is you can't, because Zoom will detect what are called copyright violations, DMCA, and it will just provide a gray screen to the online audience. So it blocks the streaming of copyrighted content. Now, if you do have DVDs that you need to show some clips from a DVD that are part of your class, check with Gleason Library. They may have the video content through their site. So check with Gleason to see if you can stream it from the web, okay? All right. Next, when you're in the share screen mode, the toolbar that was at the bottom of the Zoom meeting window disappears and it shows up at the top and it's minimized. But you'll see this green bar that shows the meeting ID and to stop the share. When you put your cursor over that green bar with the meeting ID, the toolbar window will drop down. It's just minimized. And then you'll see the common tools here. Now, not all of them show up here. When you click on the More menu, you'll see the rest of the materials. Okay. And then when you're done, you can click Stop Share to get back just the video view. And it's not just the host. You as an instructor can share. What if you have student presentations? Then each person in turn, each participant can also share their screen. It's usually one at a time. It's usually just less distracting that way, but you can do one at a time. Each person can share their screen, do their presentation, stop the share, mute their mic. Okay, and this is what it looks like say if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, here's that Zoom toolbar. It shows up at the top. You have a small, either a gallery window showing all the participants. Now, sometimes it covers part, sorry, part of your screen. So in the More menu, when you're doing the presentation, you can actually click on the More menu and there's a choice for Hide Video Panel. So you can hide the video panel during the presentation part and then bring it back again, when you want to stop and hold for questions. Okay. Now, before we go on, let's see if there are any questions regarding in-meeting sharing screen. Any pressing questions, Mishara?
So we had a question about, and I was just writing in the chat that Netflix, somebody had told me that you could, but I haven't tried it myself, so I want to try it before I say that you can. I do know that I have seen YouTube, Vimeo.
Right. And some YouTube videos, we've had it where, they tried to show it through Zoom and it didn't show because it was either like a paid product or something like that. So it really depends on the streaming service, whether they kind of enable some of those, it's called DMCA rules, where they kind of block the streaming through some kind of web conferencing tool.
Well, that sounds like Netflix would probably do that.
Yeah,
Why don't you?
I would do a test. Yeah, do a
I know. Are
test
you
with
going to
somebody.
stream some
Yes,
videos
yeah.
for us, Ken?
I don't have a Netflix account, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I do have Disney Plus. But do a test first. If you plan to show something from a streaming service or well, DVDs are out, but a streaming service, test it beforehand with a colleague to make sure it's going to work okay. Make sure that it's going to be going through and not blocked by Zoom. That's a good question, Bishara.
And Ken, later I have a question about the registration, but let's get through this part first and we'll talk about this.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's during the scheduling part. So yeah, we'll handle that one at the end. Okay, continuing on, meeting protocols or netiquette. So here, as the facilitator, as the host, you can really control just control the audience. You can mute the participants from the managed participants panel. You can you can use the chat, of course. You can, in that participants panel, you can lock a meeting so that say if you want to lock the meeting after a certain time, you don't want any latecomers. If they're late, they're absent, you can actually lock it to prevent others from joining. Or if all the students are in, you want to make sure no one happens to drop in who's not in your class, you can lock the meeting to prevent others from joining. And then polling and breakout rooms, which we'll demo at the end. Now there's this link to Zoom site, but we actually have a document that details breakout rooms. And Mishra, it's on our USF Teach site, in the Teaching Through Emergencies. There's whole resources there, and everything, including startup guides, signing into Zoom, breakout rooms, all those can be found there. But Mishra, maybe you want to just send them the breakout room document through the chat. You can do that too, so they can have it right there. Okay. So in the manage participants, so when we bring up the window, see here, this is as a host. You see the list of participants, you see their names, and then you can click on the more menu when you put your cursor over their name to make them a co-host, say like if it's a TA, or you have a colleague who's helping, being really nice and helping you manage a really large class. You can make them a co-host to give them the same tools as you as the host, so they can manage, mute people who didn't mute their microphone and the like. So that's at the top of the manage participants window. At the bottom, here you can mute all or unmute all. So you can mute all the participants right from this panel. Then they're under the more menu, mute participants on entry. So you can kind of make it so that when they come in, they're automatically muted. You can uncheck allow participants to unmute themselves. So you choose who gets unmuted. And we've seen this in the law school where it's very Socratic, but the instructor wants to call on people. So he will unmute someone and call them out by name, and they need to speak. So it's a very, that's the way that they do it in real class. That's the way they want to do it in the session. So you can see it provides a lot of options to how you manage the participants in terms of speaking. Okay, so and each class will be different. So kind of take a look at the way that you do it in the real classroom, in the physical classroom, and see how these tools can best match that dynamic. It won't be the same, it's just a different dynamic, but these tools can help to try and get close to what you want out of the class. Okay. All right, so the students they don't see managed participants in the Zoom toolbar, but they see participants. And then when they're in there at the bottom of the participants window, they're gonna see unmute me and then raise your hand. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring up the managed participants. Why don't you go ahead and click on the participants tool in the toolbar, and people can start raising their hands. See, Christian raised his hand. Let's see some other people. Jacqueline raised her hand. Carrie raised his hand. So you can see that the instructor can, can stop and see who has questions by seeing who raised their hand. And, if you have, even if it's just an hour lecture, or if it's a 2-hour lecture or a 4-hour session, break up the session. If you have a long lecture, if you have a lecture class, then I would go ahead and maybe break it up into segments and then pause and bring up the manage participants tool. And then the students bring up the participants tool. And then you have question and answer by raising your hand. Just as they would raise their hand in class, you look at it, you go, okay, Lisa's first, then we'll have Carrie, then Christian, then Elizabeth, by seeing who raised their hand. You can decide the order, again, to create order, to make sure that everyone has a voice, okay? So it takes practice to kind of get into that flow, but it's certainly doable. Okay. Okay. Any questions about the managed participants, Mishar? Any pressing questions in there? We're good?
Nope. Somebody didn't see where the hand raising icon was. Maybe you could show
Oh,
where that is
okay.
on your screen.
It's in the, so if you're, it should be at the bottom of your screen as a participant, and you'll see in the toolbar, participants. And then when you look at that, you'll see the long list of names, but at the very bottom of that window, you're gonna see raise hand, a button for raise hand. So hopefully that helped. Okay. All right, let's continue. Recording a Zoom meeting. So this, everybody seems like they're doing it. They want to record the live session, or you can pre-record a session as a pre-recorded lecture to put it up on Canvas. But that button is found also in the meeting toolbar. If you're just doing video, that like it's just a live discussion, you want to capture that, then it's at the bottom of the Zoom toolbar, the Zoom meeting window. But if you're sharing your screen, again, it shows up at the top where the green bar is, and then you'll have to go into the More menu to see this choice, record to the computer or record to the cloud. Now, recording to the cloud is more convenient because you don't have to deal with a file. It's uploaded automatically after the meeting to the Zoom servers, and you get an email saying that your recording is ready. Now, during this situation, I think every university institution is doing record to the cloud. So we're seeing really severe delays in processing of all those cloud recordings. And it's not consistent. Some faculty said, oh, it was done in an hour. Others said, it's been 2 days since it's been processing. So it has been inconsistent. We've been trying to work with Zoom, and they've been trying to work to see if they can increase the capacity to expedite those cloud recordings. But so far, it's just been really, really slow. We do have a document how to record to the computer. Also, it creates a file, and it goes step by step, recording, locating the video, renaming it to the title that you want for that video, and using Google Drive to share those videos out. So we have a document. I'm sure I just put that up on the continuity resources folder. So you might want to send that out if people are thinking about pre-recording a lecture, and needing to share it out to the students. Okay. Also too, it's just common courtesy to let people know you're recording. Now, there's no secret recording. Now, I have on my toolbar at the top, there's a little cloud icon saying that it's recording, but on your screens too, you see a little indicator that I'm recording the session. So there's no secret recording of any session, and only the host can record. So you don't have to worry about your students kind of secretly recording the class. They cannot do it. Only the host can record. Okay, any questions about recording, Mishra?
There is a question about pre-recording. So I'm not quite sure what it was. I wasn't sure what the question. It's Regina, do you want to unmute your audio and ask the question yourself?
Sure, go ahead, Regina.
If you're able to.
Okay, sorry, yeah, it just took me a minute. I missed what you were saying about pre-recording a lecture. Do you do that in Zoom? You go to Zoom, start a meeting, and just do it all alone, and then upload it to the cloud? Is that what you do?
Yes. Oh, yes, yeah. So it's very similar. Like if people are Echo 360 users, then that's exactly what they're doing. They're pre-recording it like for the flipped classroom, pre-recording a lecture and doing activity in class, except that we're all online, but maybe your class really is all about discussion and you want to pre-record content that relates to the discussion for the next class, then you can pre-record it and put it in Canvas. So we have whole documentation on doing it recording to the cloud and then recording to the computer. Let me just quickly go through. Okay, so this is a little demo of recording to the cloud, but it's just essentially recording in Zoom. So what you want is to have all your materials ready, like a website. I have a PowerPoint. I'm going to show iMovie. I'm going to do a demo. So I open all the things that I need to record. Then I go into Zoom and then I start a meeting, either with or without video. You could do it either way, just a screen share with your voice or screen share with your video. Either way is fine. And I think this example, I did it without video. So I start the meeting. I do the test. Right, this is showing the test of testing my microphone and speakers. And I join. And so here, I'm in the meeting. And at the bottom, I click the share screen. And so I'm going to choose desktop, and I'm going to click on share computer sound also, because I have some sound I want to share in the recording also. Okay. Then I click share. So then I go back to, say, like my PowerPoint and go into the meeting, go into the presentation. And then I put my cursor up to the green bar. You can see it up there. I can go into the More menu and then select Record to the Cloud or Record to the Computer. In this case, I'm selecting Record to the Cloud. It gives an indicator, the little cloud icon, it's recording. You pause for a moment, and then you start the recording. And you start the presentation. Every slide, every animation, and your voice gets recorded. Now, if I want to show something else, like a website, then right here, I hit the escape button to go out of the presentation. I brought up the website and did my demo or a tour through the website. Then I go back in to PowerPoint, resume the show, and continue on with the presentation. And again, I escaped out of the presentation to show iMovie, did the demo, and went back to the presentation. Then at the very end, here's the last slide. I pause again to create a nice little break. I go back up to the green toolbar, go to the More menu, and select Stop Recording. It gives me a confirmation screen. And once you end the meeting, then it processes it on the Zoom server. Okay. So that's just a little demo, both of sharing the screen and sharing content and recording. Okay. All right, let's go back into the presentation. Okay. Ms. Shore, were there any other questions regarding recording or sharing the screen? I hope that kind of provided, and what I was planning on doing was that video, I don't have any audio on it, but I'm going to add a narration, and I'll also put that into the continuity on the Teaching with Zoom website as an example of doing something like that. Okay. All right. Yes, Ms. Shore, a question?
Well, there are a couple settings that I like for this for the meetings where you can maybe we'll go into some of the settings later for disabling say like sometimes when you click on that link it lets you download the files, so you have to set it so that students can't download, they can
Oh
just
yeah,
view.
I'll show it on the website, in one of my test recordings, yeah.
Okay.
But here is the example of the email that you would get as a confirmation. The cloud recording's ready. And so there's one link to edit and to view the recording, to preview it. Then below, there's a share recording link that you would copy and then paste it to an email or put into the Canvas course. So it's very, very simple. But unfortunately, right now, it's really difficult because people are waiting for those things to process. Okay. The last thing before we go into some of the settings and other details in Zoom is some people may need to use their mobile device. They don't have a computer. They need to join using their phone. So if you don't have very good cell coverage, there's some information on enabling Wi-Fi calling on both your iPhone and on your Android phone. So it utilizes the Wi-Fi in the area instead of using your cell coverage. So I think these are on the knowledge base for on the ITS support site. We'll also have this. I think Mishra, did they already put this a PDF of this presentation on the USF Teach site already? Oh,
I
you're
will
muted.
check.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be up there, so I'll confirm with you.
Okay, yeah, so we'll put that up there too so you can see the links in case you need to use a mobile device. Now, we did see that all the functionality is not enabled, say like on an iPad as a host. Like for example, breakout rooms is not an option you can do on an iPad. You can only do that when you're hosting a meeting on your computer. And so there's some other limitations too. So just to kind of take note of that. And then finally, you know, in the summer, ITS is looking to, you already do like two-factor authentication from home by sending a text to your phone or to your email. They're moving to something called Duo, but that's in the summer. They just want us to put this in here to, if you want to get that set up, it's a really nice way to do two-factor authentication. The ITS help desk can help you get that set up. So we just want to put that in there, okay? All right, so that is the presentation. So maybe what we can do, let's see, what time is it? Okay, it's at 11. If you want to stay and ask some questions, and what I can do is I can also go through some of the settings here that also may be helpful. These are like additional settings. Usually people just leave it as default, but some of these you may want to enable. So for example, under settings, I'm logged into my usfca.zoom.us site. And here under settings, you can, under basic, in-meeting basic, there is a choice from prevent participants from saving chat. You can actually save the chat by, there's a little caret to say save chat. It's an options menu in the chat window. So you can save it, but you can prevent participants from saving chat also. You can disable private chat for your account. So say if you want all chats to be public for the entire session, you can prevent one-on-one side chats between people, especially in the classroom. Maybe you don't want that. You can disable that here for your entire account. You can also do it in the chat window as a host. There's a little more menu at the bottom of the chat window. You can say all chats are, everyone can chat publicly instead of publicly and privately. So you can set it per meeting or set it for the entire account. And then file transfer. This is off by default, but maybe you want to send files through the meeting. It's done through the chat window. So for example, I can bring up my chat window and, oh, actually, I'm not sure why I don't have, oh, I don't know why it's not, it doesn't show in my window right now. Maybe it's because you're a co-host. But you can do a file transfer to all the participants in the room. So that's in the basic in meeting. Other ones that, see, it's on, all participants can screen share. You can make it host only if you don't want anybody to share their screen. But you can, it's usually set to all participants by default, okay? Michelle, were there some other ones that you had seen that were like in advanced? I think the others are.
There's waiting room.
Yeah, that one is on. That one is on by default, but you have to enable it in each meeting, so you can choose it. And so choose which participants are placed in the waiting room, guest participants only, or all participants. And it's, you know, it's usually defaulted to all participants.
There's the disallow chat save, right? But
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
people can copy and paste things too, so I don't know
Yeah.
that that's really protects you, but it's nice not to give them the file anyways.
Yeah.
But also, it's sometimes nice for you to have chat saved, so
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't want to disable it.
Yeah.
Allow nonverbal feedback.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think, you know, raising your hand, I think we probably want to keep it simple for right now, but there is nonverbal feedback. It provides other like emoticons to be able to respond and react. I think that was down
What
here.
about annotation?
Annotation is
Allow
on by,
users to use annotation.
Yeah, that's under advanced.
Because when you allow people to use annotations, like somebody can just take the pen tool and start drawing and you don't know who it is. So it's a little
Yeah,
bit, I feel like you should shut off annotation.
yeah. A lot of participants use annotation tool. And then you can, I don't think you can enable it. I think it has to be enabled here on for everything or off for anything.
Hmm.
So you have to kind of watch out for that.
And then the
So the,
breakout room, oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, the breakout rooms,
Hmm.
here it is. I turn this on for everybody. So everybody has access to this tool. You don't have to turn it on. It's on by default now. So everybody has an account can get that.
Okay, and then what's that feature allow host to assign before one schedule? And also, I guess I think we're out of time. If everybody needs to go, that is totally fine. If you want to stay and test out a breakout room, please stay.
Okay. But before we do that, are there any pressing questions that people wanted to ask? No pressing questions?
Oh, there was the registration question um,
Yes.
for the
So,
polls and the reporting and stuff,
so let me go into a meeting and
which
edit it.
I found too that in order to save the poll data, you have to have people register. And so that's usually for a webinar, you would have people register and you could do polls there. Webinar is
Yeah.
more of like a one-way communication. So we're really having Zoom meetings for classes, but you can
Yeah.
go
So
through.
see, registration, this is more of we want people to register to join the meeting. And so here it sends out a invitation to register for the event, but that's just an extra layer for class. You don't want to use that for class. This is usually for like events that you would want the registration. Okay. We do have if you want to get a report of who attended the session. I don't see here, but you're going to see a reports tool, and we have a document that's now. We're going to put that onto the Teaching with Zoom site or the Teaching Through Emergency site for faculty. How to get an attendance report for their class. Now, it's best to get an accurate attendance viewing. It's best that the students sign into Zoom with their USF credentials because it gets their name and it gets their email address in the report. If they don't, there's no email address.
So that wouldn't happen when you ask people to register.
Well, then yeah, it's just an extra layer. So instead of just putting the link in Canvas, they have to register to join the meeting. So all 30 students would have to register. And they can use whatever email address they want, but if they sign into the Zoom client with their USF address, then the report will reflect the sign-in information in the app. So the registration is it's just another layer that I don't think that's required, that's needed. Okay.
Right.
All right. Do people want to try out the breakout room? Raise your hand if you want to try it out. Okay.
All right, great.
Well,
I think if
we're,
people are
we're
still here,
I
that
think we're
probably
going
want
to
to be
try
in
it.
the.
Yeah, we're going to try it. So what I'm going to do, you're not going to see the screen, but I'm going to go to manage participants, actually go to breakout rooms. Breakout rooms.
And so we won't hear Ken when we're in a breakout room, but he can pop in and talk to us, and we won't actually be able to talk to him either. So an instructor
Right,
would say something like, "Okay, we're going to do breakout rooms for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to end the breakout rooms, and you'll be back."
right. So I'm going to assign the 7 participants into 2 rooms. I'm just going to break it up automatically. And when I create breakout rooms, it's going to show me the list of who's in the rooms. And then when I click on open all rooms, and I'm going to change the shutdown timer to 10 seconds. It'll be quick. And so when I click open all rooms, you're going to see an invitation, join breakout room. So I'm going to open all the rooms and you're going to go to your rooms. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna join a breakout room. In the breakout rooms tool, I can now join breakout room 1, for example. So I'm gonna send a broadcast message to the breakout room. Okay. And it's gonna be, oops, broadcast all, there it is. Closing the rooms. Okay. And then I'm going to close, and then as in the tool, there's a button at the bottom of the window saying close all rooms. So I got to click the button, and then everybody will be returning back to the main session. Okay. Okay, great. I think most people are back in. So that was a demonstration of breakout rooms. It's not for everybody, but those of you who break people up into small groups, it's a great way to kind of emulate what you did in the classroom. Okay, all right. And we have a document also, if you already have groups set up in your class where they meet together every class session, there's another document for pre-assignment of breakout rooms. You have to schedule a meeting on the zoom.us site. Let me just quickly show that as a last thing. Okay, so here in my meeting, there is a choice for breakout room reassign. So I check the box, and then I've already set it up. I'm gonna, and you can create rooms, you can add the email addresses. There's a way you can import from a CSV file. It gives you a template, so you just do it once, and it will give you a CSV file where you can put in room number 1, person number 1, room number 1, person number 2, room number 3, person number 3. And then the same thing for room 2, 3, 4, and how many more rooms you have. And you save it. And so what you do is you browse to choose the file. It sets the format already. You don't have to configure anything if you use that, that template, and it'll pre-populate the breakout rooms. So it'll show here, all populated from that CSV file. And you just have to do that for every meeting that you do. Okay. So that's just a kind of a brief kind of overview of the breakout rooms and pre-assignment. Any other pressing questions? If you do, why don't you go and raise your hand, and then we'll call on you if you have any questions. Okay, thanks, Nune. Thanks for joining the session. If there are, oh, Okay, if there aren't any other questions, thank you for coming. If you have, questions that come up as you're, putting things together, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're more than ready to help you out. I know it's really busy, but we're going to try and help everyone who has a need. All right, fantastic. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you out there in the Zoom world. Michelle, did you want to stay on for a little bit?
Yeah, I wanted to just talk to you, Ken, if
Yeah.
I could. Are you going to the next open office hours?
Yes, so I plan to be in there. Let me check my calendar real quick because let me see here.
Okay, Lisa asked for a file. Let me see. She's looking for the file for the breakout rooms, which is
Oh, okay.
breakout rooms. I already linked it, but I'll do it again. I got it.
Okay, great. Let me see here. Oh, good. Thanks, Mishara.
Sure.
Okay.
So I wanted to, I found a document, I just linked it, but I think it might be actually the wrong one about sharing multiple screens. What I wanted to do was to share an instructor screen so that students have instructions in a breakout room.
Yeah, I don't know if that will work. We have to test that. But
And then
yeah.
we should test right now to see if we can see the poll results and what kind of reporting we get after this meeting for that.
Yeah, so I did get, I did have the poll. See, there it is. Okay.
What kind of a
So,
report does that generate after the meeting, that you can, in
right.
your reporting?
So I think it's going to show up in the either the report or in the recording section.
Yeah.
So because it saves the chat, and I believe it'll save the poll. So this will be a good test to see if it'll save it in the recording too. Okay.
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 All right. I think I just wanted to test one thing with you.
Okay.
I can't remember. I have too many notes on too many pages for too many things to do.
Oh, I know. There's just so many.
Oh, let's
There's
try to play.
so
I'm going
many
to try to play Netflix for you, okay?
Oh, okay. You have a
Let me
Netflix
do
account.
that. I do.
Ooh, and what I'll do is I'll bring up my Disney Plus.
I think it's Netflix Netflix Party is what you need to show. I guess that's sharing. I guess that's the kids. All right, so I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, hold on. Go ahead. Let me go back to Zoom. Okay, go ahead. Oh,
Yeah.
did you check the box share computer sound? Yeah, stop the share and then do it again. Yeah, click stop share. The video shows up fine, but let's see what the audio is like. Okay.
Oops. Sorry, I couldn't hear you when that was playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, could you see it?
I could see it, but I couldn't hear it. So when
I
you
did do leave recording audio. Leave
oh
computer.
no, to share computer audio, right?
I did leave computer audio.
Oh no, not that, but in
Audio.
the share screen window, in the
Okay.
lower left-hand corner is share computer audio.
Ah, there we go. All right,
You
I
want to
can
click
try.
that one, not the other one, but click that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, I can hear you too. All right, I'm gonna play this and see what
Okay.
happens. Can you hear it?
Yes. Yes,
I can hear you too.
Get to
Yeah.
a striker! I'll distract them!
Now, if you ever need to watch Netflix, just give me a call.
I'm with the resistance now!
So, I kind of wonder. Oh, this is kind of cool.
I know, it's
like
kind
that.
of a cool show. It's called Three Below. It's
Tales of
Robert,
Arcadia.
I think
Yeah.
it's Robert Rodriguez or something like that. Some
Oh,
famous director. I think it
okay.
is. It's Spy Kids too.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now I'm kind of curious. Let me see. Let me share and see if Disney Plus will share. Oh, share computer sound.
I mean, they have to have digital rights management, but maybe they can't control it. Can the person who was talking about like a student taking an Instagram shot of the page just
Oh, yeah, no.
actually lit a fire? Yeah, I can hear that. I
Okay.
can see it. Oh, I
Okay,
haven't seen
fantastic.
this. Oh, spoiler
Oh,
alert!
did you?
Spoiler
Okay.
alert! No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
I'm going to stop the share. You see
I
the Mandalorian.
I wonder, I'm going to look this up, but I think that we should have faculty put a copyright symbol on all of their lectures just in case. And then also to have a big, bold warning, and it's not in our etiquette, and I already flagged this, um, to say you cannot screenshot any of your students' faces, any of their voice likeness, like we do this in media services. The voice likeness, like you don't have the rights to that. USF has the rights to it, or your professor does, right?
Oh, wait a minute. You mean like students taking screenshots?
Yes, of other
Oh,
people
man.
and other audio and video, like
Oh, and then
that
putting
could
on
be a
social media?
disaster.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I also saw, I just did a quick lookup. I saw that Cornell had security issues, like that unwanted participants were coming into meetings, and that they needed to have like, and I think I put this link on there. I have an email with it. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But look that up, because I think that's probably, once we get everybody online, that's gonna happen,
Oh my God. Somehow they're
right?
going to get the link. And
Yeah.
I think that's where if the link is in Canvas, then only those participants can get to it.
Well, once people have the links and it's going out in like email, or they're sending it to other
Oh
people, they're
yeah,
texting it, or what's the link? It's got
I
like some
know.
links,
Yeah.
it's not fully secured. So
Yeah.
maybe register. Oh, I want to try registration. So let's
Yeah.
end this meeting, and you do the report, and then can you?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll in the
Uh,
meeting, but registration, that's just going to be,
is it long? Is it not just like click
well,
or?
we've never done that, but see, it's another layer for the students for every class. They're going to need to register.
But if you do that, then you also don't have unwanted people coming in,
Yeah, but
and
yeah,
you get the reporting that you need.
yeah, but you get the report anyway. Doesn't matter if you record it or not. The
Right,
report
right,
shows the attendance, but they
right.
need to sign it, and the registration they need to use. They can't use like their Gmail address or their Yahoo address that they want to use. They have to use their USF address.
Right.
So that's why doing it where they're joining the meeting, and they're joining the meeting with their USF credentials
Mm,
to identify them as USF students. That's why, if they create like some free account,
right.
in Zoom, and that's what they're using to register,
Yeah.
then that's not going to work. But we'll have
Um,
to, I mean, we'll have to
yeah,
see.
do you want me to do you want to start a meeting with me right now, or do you have time to make it registration, and then I'll just jump back on and just look at it?
Actually, I need to go into
Okay.
that office hours,
Okay.
but I think this is something we do need to investigate. I think you're
All right.
right.
Let's meet up
Um,
later then. I'll
yeah,
Slack
yeah.
you. Are you on Slack? Or
Yes, I
okay.
am.
Or I'll just
I got
text
on
you.
there. Yeah,
Slack is pretty good actually for working stuff.
yeah,
All right.
it is.
I'll let you
Okay.
go.
So it's actually recorded all this conversation too, which is good because I think these are some things that that you're right, they may come
I
up.
think it's going to come up
Oh
big
boy.
time
All
all
right.
across the world.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to
Okay.
you later. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Miss Shara. Bye.